I do have a lot of things to share. So first off, let's start out by taking a look at this card. Y'all, I am obsessed. I want to show you an up close look at this card. Like, there's just so many layers and it's so beautiful. And the good part about this is it looks like it would be very hard to make, but y'all, we have simplified this. I built this card from the ground up. Everything you see I built, but we have turned it into a cut file for you all, so you do not have to build it. It's all you have to do, pull it into Design Space, and it's gonna be there for you. So, this is the card that we're gonna make today. What I mean by the base, and I'll show you here in a minute, we're giving you this whole card without this middle piece and without the words, so that you all can come in and add whatever words you want. So maybe you don't want it to say joy to the world, or maybe you're making it for a birthday card. You can have it say happy birthday or congratulations or all kinds of different things. But we are going to be making this card today. So let's start out by talking about the materials that you're going to need. So you can see I have lots of different paper here on the table, and that's because, especially for this middle piece, I wanted to give it depth. I wanted to have all of these different colors. I wanted it to be eye-catching. You don't have to do all of this. This is because I'm extra. You don't have to do all of this stuff. But if you want to, the colors that we're gonna be using today, I am going to be using, and I don't have a sheet of it because I did pre-cut this base layer, you can see here. So we are gonna be using Ashley, the Celebration Warehouse, Ashley Thalco paper. This is her shed-free glitter cardstock. This is in the champagne color and red. And y'all, this red glitter has so much depth to it. Red is not personally my favorite color, but this red glitter cardstock to me is everything. I love it. So we are using the shed-free glitter cardstock from Celebration Warehouse, champagne and red. We also have some other colors. So these two colors came from Hobby Lobby. And so did the rest of these, because I'm very particular with my colors. And I wanted the very back of the poinsettia to be like a really deep kind of purpley red. So I was not finding that in the Celebration Warehouse cardstock. So I did go to Hobby Lobby, and they had a pack of like Christmas colors, and it had this green or this red, and I think it also had this like greenish color in it. So you can buy a coordinating color pack of cardstock that is like Christmas colors. We're just using, I'm using 3 different shades of red, 2 different shades of green. Actually, we're gonna can this brown. I'm not gonna use it just because it actually ends up being very, very small, and I'll show you why here in a minute. And then for the base of our card, we're gonna be using the ivory from Celebration Warehouse as well, okay? So these are the colors of cardstock that we're gonna be using. For, as far as matte, yes, I have a strong grip matte on this table, but y'all, I did pre-cut some of this because this is a lot of layering. This is going to be a lot of Design Space work, so I wanted to make sure we had plenty of time to go over everything. And when I was pre-cutting this, I had a couple light grip mats here on the table. We obviously need to order new light grip mats because my paper was not sticking. So yes, I do have a strong grip mat on the table. I don't suggest you using a strong grip mat for cardstock unless it is very well used. And as you can see, this is a very, very well used strong grip mat. So it's about the right tack that we're looking for. But really and truly, when you are working with cardstock, you're gonna need to work with a light grip mat or a well-loved standard grip mat, okay? Something else I have on the table are new blades. Now, the reason that I have these new blades on the table is because I am going to change the blade in this Cricut, because with these small pieces, if you don't have a good sharp blade, you take a risk of not getting very good cuts and it sliding around. tearing your paper. So I am going to change the blade in this Cricut. You all can see how we do that. Most of you already know how to do that, but we're gonna show you anyway. As far as adhesives for this project, I have 3 different adhesives on the table. I'm probably not gonna use all 3. Use what you have. One thing I do want to say when it comes to this shed-free glitter cardstock, the zig pen, for some reason, just does not stick as well to this shed-free glitter cardstock.
I don't think there's enough like things for it to tack to.
Right.
So you just want to be careful. You know, the zig is so good for like regular cardstock. Like it's
Yes.
so good for regular cardstock.
Yes. But I really like the Aleene's tacky glue, and this is the precision tip. It is great when it comes to this glitter cardstock. And of course, the ATG gun is really good for the larger areas that we're going to be working with. So, and I know we've had some friends on our channel that have said they have certain glues that they really like that we may not use. Y'all, the type of adhesive that you use is going to be a personal preference. These are just some of our favorites that you can use.
We can say these are all tried and true.
Right. Like, for example, Alicia, if she was on here, she's gonna go for this zig pen before I do, because I'm an Aleene's girl through and through. I don't know why. That's just what I have always grabbed. That's what I always gravitate toward. If it was Tanner, he's gonna go toward the ATG gun before he grabs either of these 2.
For sure.
So that's why I have all 3 of these on the table today, because I wanted you all to know and understand that just because we used one type of glue doesn't mean it is the one you have to use. These are just our 3 favorites, okay? So, with all of that being said, let's go ahead and jump into Design Space, because there is going to be a lot of Design Space work. In Design Space, now that we're here, you can see, looking at this looks super, super complicated, right? It looks like, oh my gosh, I don't know, can I really do that? Let me just go ahead and tell you that you can.
That's literally what Yolanda commented. She's like, wow, I believe I can really do this. Yes, you totally are going to be able to do it thanks to the training today. So if you're not a member,
absolutely can. So let's go ahead and hop over to the Maker's Gonna Learn website. We are going to hop over to, we're here at the website. First thing we're gonna do is we're gonna grab our poinsettia, and we're going to, there it is. So here is the poinsettia file. Once again, just in case you all were wondering, I actually made this out of basic shapes and files that we already had on our Maker's Gonna Learn website. So talk about manipulating files, and then from there we have just turned it into a file for you all. What you're gonna do, you're gonna download that. You're gonna make sure it unzips. Unzip your poinsettia, it's an SVG, okay? From there, we're going to do let's just type in card.
And I just wanted to clarify, we do have envelope files on the site that can be resized to any size, so whether it's square, rectangle, etc. I just wanted to verify that. And then we had our friend Tina also say you can take any envelope and resize it to fit. So I had to verify with Courtney that, and then she chimed in too. So yay!
Okay, so the next file that we're going to be downloading is going to be titled Cutaway Card. Once again, from there, you're gonna click the arrow pointing down. You're going to double click and unzip that. And then here in just a second, we are going to upload that into Design Space. Now, really quickly, what I'm going to do, okay, perfect. I could not remember, let me go back and show you what I just did real quick. Okay, let's talk about what I just did, because I forgot what font I was using.
Oh, this
and
is
this
a great
is
hack.
a great hack for those that may not have been around. We started doing this, I'd say about 9 months ago or so.
I feel like it was early 2022.
It might have been even longer than that. But in case you did not know, if you forget what font you are using, and let's say you have already ungrouped it, you've ungrouped to lines, ungrouped to letters, whatever, it's not popping up over here. What you need to do is come to, here you can see I have it all ungrouped to letters, and then I have united it back together. What I'm going to do is I'm going to right click on one of these letters. Right click, you see how it pulls all of this up? From there, you're gonna scroll down to the bottom. You see where it says image info, and then image info, over here, it says selected font, Blake.
So smart.
So easy. If you can't remember what font you're using, go back, right click, go down to image info, and it will show you what font you are using, okay? So from there, we're gonna go back to our Makers Gonna Learn website. We're going to go to our fonts, and then the font we are going to be using is Blake. What you are going to do, it's this one, not Rustic Blake, not the circle one, it is just the regular one. You are going to click the download button, you are going to double click it. Here you can see it's pulled up here. You're gonna double click that and then install it on your computer. Now we do already have this installed, so I do not have to. Once it is installed, we're gonna pop back over to Design Space. So if you have uploaded a font and it's still not in Design Space, one thing you need to do, come back up here to View, reload Design Space, okay? What it's going to do, it's then going to recognize all the new fonts that you have downloaded onto your computer, and it's going to pop them into Cricut Design Space for you, okay?
Love it.
So once you have unzipped and loaded that font, what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to Upload. You are going to go to Upload Image. We're gonna go to our Finder here. We are going to find the cutaway card. We have gone to Browse, gone to our recent downloads, and we are going to grab the cutaway card SVG. We're going to open that. It is just a cut image with different layers. We're gonna upload that, and then we're gonna go back, browse again, downloads, Poinsettia, open that. Once again, that is an SVG as well, and we're gonna upload that into Design Space. Now what we're gonna do, we're going to select both of these and add them both to Canvas. And here you can see we have our beautiful poinsettia and our card, okay? What you want to do now, so this card does not come in as a 5x5 card. It comes in a little bit smaller, so if you do want to make it larger than 5x5, my suggestion is, so the width is going to be half of the height, or the width is going to be half of the card. So let's say you want it to be a 6x6. Then you're going to make the width 12. Now you can see here that our width is 12 and our height is 6 inches, 6.07. So you can make it as large or as small as you want. Just know that it is going to be a square card, okay? So I'm actually just gonna go back. We're gonna make it a 5x5, okay? This, as you can see here, the width of our card is 10 with the line down the middle, which is going to be our score line, making this box 5x5. Are we all on the same page? Are we good to go? Whatever. So one thing I do want to show you is there are different layers to this card. So this red is different from our circles. These are all different layers. So one thing that you do need to do with this card is come down here to your base layer, which is our ivory layer, and you can see that we have a basic cut right down the middle. First thing you need to do, grab that basic cut, come over here to your operations panel, click that, change that from a basic cut to a score function, okay? Now you can see that we have a score line down the middle. Are we good?
I love it.
So you need to make sure that you change this basic cut to a score line. From there, what we're going to do, we're going to grab our text. Remember, we're working with the text Blake, so we're going to go to our system fonts. We're going to type in Blake. We're going to grab our font here. I'm going to pull it over here, and now you're just going to type in whatever words you want, okay? So if you want it to say Merry Christmas, joy to the world, whatever, we'll try Merry Christmas since it's different. One thing that I do think you definitely need to do, no matter what words you are using, you're going to have a top portion and a bottom portion. So once you decide what is your top portion, so for this one, Merry is going to be my top portion and Christmas is going to be my bottom. So I have Merry here. I'm going to select enter. I'm going to hit return or enter, and then I'm going to type out Christmas. Okay? This next step, what we're going to do, I'm not going to resize it just yet. I mean, you can if you want to. We're just going to leave it about this size. Next step is we're going to come up here to advanced, and we're going to ungroup to lines. Now, the reason we're going to ungroup to lines is because I want this down here at the bottom, and I want this at the top.
Now, for me, this right here, what you're about to teach on, I would think would be the hardest part.
It is going to be the hardest part, but just stick with me because trust me, it's going to be well worth it.
Yes.
Okay?
This is the best learning.
This is going to be the meat of our training, and I'm going to zoom in so we can all see it really, really well. And I'm going to change the color of this to red so we can see it better. Okay, so we're all good when it comes to this part. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to take this Merry, we're going to come up here to the curve function, and we're going to curve our words so that it fits within our circle. And then I'm going to size it down just a little bit and bring it over to where it's going to fit. Now, you can see, but Lauren, this Y is not touching, or that M is not where I want it to be, or it's not curved right. That's fine. We're going to actually uncurve this just a little bit. It was curved a little too much for the size, but you're just going to keep manipulating it down a little bit to where it fits within the circle. Okay?
Okay.
But we're not done yet.
It already looks so good.
It already looks
so
great.
Fast.
It already looks great, but we're wanting these two pieces, so this black piece here and this black piece to connect. And we're going to get there in just a second. Just bear with me. So now we're going to pull Christmas down. And the reason we're doing these, there's a good chance that your top word is going to be either bigger or smaller than your bottom portion. That's okay. Because they're just not going to, they may not fit the same depending on what words you are using. So, once again, we're going to go to curve, but instead of curving it down, we're curving it up this way.
Wow.
Now, you see, but Lauren, that Christmas looks really weird. You know what? I agree with you. It does look really weird. What you can still do, we're going to go with Christmas selected. Here in a minute when I find it. There it is, Christmas. Christmas. Let's curve it just a little bit more about right here. The good part about this, oh darn it. The good part about this is you see that circle? As long as it's close to the same, do y'all see that guide, the circle guide?
Yeah.
As long as it's close to the same size as that circle, it's gonna fit.
Right.
And I love that about it. But these letters are just a little too far apart for my liking. I don't know if they are for yours, but they are for me. So what I'm
looks
gonna
different.
It looks different, right? Because it is such a longer word.
Yeah, I was about to say, you have to give up some bigger words, like just how it pans out.
Right. So I'm gonna go to letter spacing, and I'm actually going to pop the letter spacing down a little bit, and it's starting to look a little better, right?
Yeah.
but it still doesn't look perfect to me.
Right.
And you all know that I can be a perfectionist. So what the next thing, if this happens to you, what's bothering me the most is the MAS at the end of this word. It's just really bothering me. What you can do, if you are the same way I am, what you can do, come back up here to advanced, ungroup it to letters. Now we have all of these letters separate, and I can come in here and manually move my letters closer.
Love that.
And so here, my S, I'm gonna bring it down. Also, that's something else that I absolutely love working with is my keyboard. Instead of manually moving it with my mouse, I love clicking on a layer and moving it with my keyboard. I don't know about you guys, but it just really, it helps me a lot. And now that I've seen this, I'm actually gonna bump Mary down just a little bit more. It's all about manipulation with this project. And we're gonna uncurve it just a smidgen. Okay, so now I'm gonna select all of, we're just gonna work from the layers panel. We're gonna select all of the letters for Christmas, okay? We're gonna move it over just a smidgen.
That looks so much better.
I mean, look at that.
Yeah.
So now what you want to do is we are going to select Merry and Christmas, okay? We're going to come up here to offset, and we're gonna add an offset to these letters. Now, obviously it cannot be 0.25, that is huge. Right. We're actually gonna bump it down to about a 0.05 probably. But you want to make sure before you add your offset that your offset is touching both the bottom and the top layer, okay? So 0.05 is a little small. Let's go like 0.07. Yes, that's where I want that, okay? We see here that all of these are touching both top and bottom. And you can even come in and move this offset once you have selected it if you want to. Like this M to me needs to be kind of curved down a little bit. But once you have an offset that is touching both black layers, we're going to apply. Okay? So now you see that the offset, although it's black, let's turn this offset blue so you can see it.
Yes, okay, this is good.
This is what we need. We need the contrast so that you all can see what we're doing here. Once we have this offset, we want to make sure that it is touching both the top and the bottom everywhere. So I'm just going to bump it down. And the good part about this is we can move these letters. It's okay if they're not touching right now. We're going to manually glue them down where the offset is, okay? So here, just a little bit, perfect.
It looks so good.
Now, with this offset selected, we're going to, at our layers panel, remember I said this was important, this part of the card is important. Yes, Shirley, if you want to move the Y closer, you can. That's going to be completely up to you. I'm not going to fool with it because we're this far into the tutorial at this point.
Right.
But now that you've pointed it out to me, it really is bothering me. But we're going to leave it alone right now, okay? Yeah. So with our offset, blue offset selected, we're going to also select this layer that has both of our black circle on the inside and our square on the outside. And we're going to come down here to combine, and we're going to unite.
Okay.
Now, hold up. What just happened?
Whoa.
What just happened? Okay. What has happened is it has brought it to the front of the layer, front of your layers panel. So what you need to do, we're just going to move it back. We're going to arrange. We're not going to send all the way to back. We're just going to start. We're actually just going to move it down here. Look, we're just going to pop it down there. And we're going to bring it back into the cutaway card. And that's it.
No way.
That is it.
That is awesome.
So from there, if you wanted to add your poinsettia in the middle, we're gonna bring this guy, it is all grouped together. We'll arrange, bring him to front. Obviously that's really, really big. But the good part about the poinsettia is it's also in all of these different layers, okay? Now, one thing that I did notice when I was cutting this out is, let's find it. Yes. These little guys, the little white leaves that I have in here, when I started assembling this together, I didn't like them. So if there are pieces of this that you don't like, guess what? You can delete them out.
Yeah, you can simplify it or you can leave it as elaborate as you want.
Yes.
I will tell you, this is one that you can get away with less is more. In a way of like layers and cutting and all that. Like if this is stressful for you, just doing the card and like the technique Lauren just went through, that's big to be able to make such a custom card yourself.
Right.
Now we've provided you with, you know, lots of details on how to do that, so you can do it.
Now, these are all different layers, but you know how we were talking about earlier, how if you wanted to simplify it down and not have all of the layers, I'm actually gonna move these 3 little dots up a little bit, right here. You can, absolutely, Glenda, you can change the colors because it is an SVG.
Yes.
You can change these colors to whatever you want. So if I wanted to change this greenery here, I could come up here and change it to blue, or I could change it to whatever you wanted, okay?
Right.
But one thing you can do, if you do not have all of the different layers, or you don't want to go into the process of having all of these different layers, the good thing about this is you can take this poinsettia and guess what? You can flatten it together and you can make it a print and cut.
God bless it.
And it can be one layer.
Love it.
It can be one layer.
Yes.
Okay? So, whoops, as I throw my mouse on the floor.
Mouse.
If you don't, like I said, if you don't want to cut out every single layer, you don't have to.
Yeah.
Another thing that I do want to say when it does come to, and I just unflattened this because I'm going to do it in different layers. When it comes to making the card this small, so I noticed because I wanted a poinsettia in the middle of this card that we didn't have a poinsettia SVG, so I put this one together. It can be and probably will be used on many other projects that we do here at Makers Gonna Learn. But when it comes to this card specifically, I love the looks of these branches back here. But when you are cutting these branches,
on a 5x5 card,
it's
not
almost
practical.
impossible.
Yeah, it's not practical.
It's not practical if you are doing it, if you're mass producing these cards. So
Right.
once again, I'm gonna come in here. I love the looks of the branches. I think that it adds to this, but for this card, we're actually gonna be deleting that out. And because of that, I'm going to delete these berries out as well. And then to add a little more depth, I'm going to grab this. Actually, I'm gonna have to grab all of this. We're going to change all of these because I did flatten it. We're gonna have to change them all back to a basic cut. Okay, so what I have done here, because I wanted to add a little bit more greenery up here at the top, what I have done is I've come down here to these holly leaves and I have duplicated. And Debbie, the reason I didn't contour is because you can't if they're all separate layers. So let's just look here at poinsettia. It doesn't give you the option to contour because all you can see on your layers panel that all of these colors are their own separate layers. So you can see here, I've duplicated the holly leaves. Here are the little other frilly little leaves. You can see that I can duplicate those as well. I can duplicate this separately on its own. So these are individual layers. If it was all one layer, you would go to contour, but these are all individual layers, okay? So I wanted to add the holly leaves here. And I'm going to kind of arrange it where I want it. And then just to see and make sure this is what I want, I'm going to send it back behind that, and it looks beautiful. And that is what we're gonna do, okay? From there, you're gonna be ready to cut. And that's it. That is it. So I'm actually, because I have pre-cut part of this, I am going to delete this portion out. We're going to delete Christmas. And then I'm actually gonna come over here and grab we're gonna delete all of these other things that I deleted out a while ago. Delete out my here and here. And then I'm just going to grab these holly leaves here. And I think these holly leaves are on their own, yeah. No, I didn't wanna do that. I wanted to do that. Perfect. So these holly leaves, and these will go here. And we're just gonna delete this guy out. Okay, so now we'll move these back. We're just gonna move them on back here. Oh, I merged it on accident.
Uh-oh.
It's okay. We'll change it back.
Love it. Let us know if you have any questions, because we're about to start cutting, so we'll have plenty of time to address any of your questions, which will be super fun.
So here you can see I have duplicated that, and we're just going to, you all get the point. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to make it. And this is going to, this black layer is going to be your champagne glitter layer. So we'll keep that there. That one is actually already cut. So I'm gonna go on to my next mat. The next mat is going to be your red frame that goes around the card. What I love to do, you all know me, I love to save paper or save money anywhere I can. So because this actually fits inside this square, I'm just moving the words inside that, and then actually gonna move that poinsettia inside that as well, so that I'm only cutting out this square, okay? Next up, once again, that portion is cut out. I did pre-cut that because we do have a lot of layers to cut out in this tutorial. So that portion is cut out. Now we're just gonna keep cutting out all of the other individual layers, and I'm pretty sure, you know what, I have that layer cut out too. That little layer is cut out, I'm pretty sure. So let's just cut out this layer. We'll start with this one. So we'll go overhead. This is gonna be my base. No, that's gonna be my base layer. This is gonna be my base layer for my poinsettia. This is gonna be the darkest color. If you do this with the cardstock, I love starting with the darkest layer at the back and moving forward with like a gradient effect. So I did the darkest layer, and then I did the glitter layer in between, and then the lightest color red, which is what color the Joy to the World and the frame is cut out of, is what is on top. So we're just going to braid down our bottom layer of the poinsettia. We're gonna go to continue. We are cutting this with a fine point blade, and I did tell you that I was going to change the blade. So let's do that real quick. So for those that may not know, changing your blade quite often is important, especially if you are working with paper and doing paper crafting, because there is a very good chance that your blade is going to become dull depending on how much you use your machine. So to change the blade, and in case you all didn't know, you do not have to buy Cricut brand blades. We get these on Amazon. They're like $10 or $15 for a pack of 30, which is a great deal. In this pack, there are 3 different angle blades. So you have your 30-degree angle blade, your 45, which is going to be the red blade, that is your fine point blade, and then your 60-degree angle blade, which is going to be your deep point blade, okay? So the higher the angle, the deeper the cut, we don't use this 30-degree angle blade very much. It's going to be used for very thin materials. If you're brave enough to try to cut tissue paper and things like that, very thin materials, you can use this 30-degree angle blade. But most of what we are going to be cutting is going to be on this 45-degree angle blade, which for this pack, you get 20 of those blades versus 5 of the other 2, which I love. So to change the blades, what you're going to do on your housing, Kim, the brand is Streweek, Streweek. It is not in the description.
No, they're just from Amazon.
They're just from Amazon.
Yeah. Totally
but anyway,
fine. Let's get to cutting.
Yes, let's get to cutting.
Oh, we got to put the new blade in. This is so easy.
So to change your blade, you're going to press the top of the housing, pull your blade out, take this. I love how they're color coded. You're going to take that off the end, press the top in again. There's a magnet inside the housing. It snaps in there and you're good to go.
Love it.
It's that easy. That easy. Okay, we'll worry about that in a minute. Next, I'm just going to put my housing back into clamp B, close that clamp, and then load in my material, and we are cutting this on medium cardstock. And while that is cutting, I'm actually going to unload this that I have already pre-cut off of my mat. Oh, I'm so glad that I changed that blade because that didn't even cut through that medium cardstock that well.
The cool thing is that when you do that, you are, kind of just making sure that you're gonna have the best cut possible. And what I was trying to say, I lost my train of thought.
See what I mean?
Oh my goodness, the devil's playing with the church's money.
Even with a strong grip mat.
It's so funny. You're gonna have to give it a little tape or something.
Who would have thought?
But what I wanted to say was having off-brand Cricut blades that you love, I think it just entices you to feel comfortable changing them more often. Not saying Cricut blades are expensive, but we definitely find ourselves changing our blades more. And I think that just ultimately gives better cuts.
Yes,
so, yay.
It does. Okay, we're gonna go back, try it again, medium cardstock.
Yeah, crazy. And where'd you get that cardstock from?
That cardstock came from Hobby Lobby.
Hobby Lobby? Okay.
It came in a pack.
It's not our Ashley Falco.
It's not, but Ashley doesn't have the color red that I was looking for.
Oh no, Ashley, what is up with that?
I don't know, and I don't know where our True Control knife is. So because my blade was not doing what it was supposed to do a while ago, I'm just having to cut this right there. Perfect. That tape really helped keep it down.
Oh, I thought that you were saying that sarcastically, and I was like, really?
No, it truly did. It truly did. I'm just trying to unload this. Okay, so we have our back portion done with our poinsettia. I feel like there's a mess on the table, but I promise we're getting there. I still have to save this because I need those letters. Next, we're going to our actual card. Let's do that. Let's do our actual card portion. So now we're going to load. Now this is the Ashley Falco brand. Y'all, I'm still gonna tape this down. I know you think I'm crazy taping down cardstock on a strong grip mat. I don't trust it anymore. I do not trust it.
Yeah, it's happened multiple times today.
And I just don't have time to deal with it.
Sometimes you need some little tape. Totally fine.
I am using the washi tape. If you watched the live yesterday, I am using the washi tape that Alicia had in here. So shout out to Alicia for keeping it in here. So I'm also adding in my scoring stylus because it is going to score down the middle. I thought the devil was playing with the church's money again, but he decided he didn't want to deal with me today.
Right.
Okay. So while that is cutting, we're just going to keep kind of getting our letters out. Y'all, I'm so like that blade, it really just did me dirty. Did me dirty. Do you care to run out there and grab me a True Control knife?
Yeah, sure.
I appreciate it. Does anyone have any questions so far? Anybody have any questions? Oh, so much better. Look, cut like butter with that new blade. Cut like butter. Thank you, sir.
Ashley Falco would never do you dirty with her cardstock.
No, she wouldn't. We've also got 3 little dots here that I'm gonna get off this mat so I don't lose them. Now, I will say this card is beautiful. It is a labor of love. It is a labor of love. So this is, in my opinion, not gonna be a, let me recreate this 50 times, unless you do a print and cut with the card. But y'all, if you're really wanting to truly wow someone with a card, I'm the type of person that I throw away cards. I know
you
that.
throw away cards?
Not handmade cards.
Oh, okay.
Let me rephrase that.
You've got to be careful with what you're saying.
Let me rephrase that. I throw away cards that people just buy from the store. I don't know. Like
me too.
But I'm also
I think we all do here. Let's be honest.
I get it from my mom. I will say this. I get it from my mom. I cannot stand clutter.
I appreciate
cannot
that.
stand just keeping random stuff. It's just not in me. My mom threw away her high school diploma.
Wow.
I couldn't tell you where mine's at. I don't know. I don't know where my college degree is at. No clue. It's completed. It's done. But I just don't keep it because at this point, if you don't believe me that I have a college degree, then
I've really never even wondered.
Well, I'm just saying.
I've heard about your college experience enough to know all about that you graduated. That's all I know.
But I say all that to say, this is a card that if someone showed up and handed me this card and gifted me this card, I would keep it because it is so beautiful.
Yeah, exactly. You want to make every card something that you know they're going to want to keep forever, not only because you worked so hard for it, but it looks so good. And this card definitely delivers.
For sure. So we have our little greenery pieces here, and last but not least, we're gonna pray that this new blade works very well for me today. I don't know if you all can see. These little pieces are also, if you don't wanna add them in, don't. Do your print and cut. So just so you know, as you can see, I tried cutting it about 12 times when I made this card. So anyway. Somebody I think did ask, what is washi tape? Washi tape is just a very thin tape. It was really big. There was a brand, the Happy Planner.
Yes.
At Hobby Lobby. I'd say it was about 6 or 7 years ago. It was like really big, right? Mm-hmm. They had a bunch. Anyway, washi tape kind of became big during that time for people that were planners
and all sorts
things
of things
like that. It's just a very thin, like paper tape, and it's great to have on hand to tape down paper and different materials on your mat if your mat is not sticky enough. So I'm going to do some surgery on these words real quick, just because I cut this before I put the new blade in. And then we're gonna start assembling our card. So first thing I'm gonna do is I'm going to, on my score line, you can see here, I'm going to fold our card on the score line. Okay. Oh, Deb said pen tool. Pen tool is very handy, but not as much so with paper crafting. It is very, very handy. but the reverse tweezers are so much more handy when it comes to paper crafting. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to tack down our first layer. This is the Joy to the World. Now this is one where the ATG gun is going to come in very handy because the back of this, it will stick very well to the back of this, okay? So we're just going to ATG this down. Also, me and this ATG gun,
sometimes
we don't get along as well.
If your ATG roll isn't set up properly, like when you replace it, it gives more trouble. Like it doesn't glide as well. So
yes,
we may need to revisit and change it out.
So we are just building our base layer here. Now I'm going to grab the Aleene's glue because we are going to be working with this is going to go on top of our glitter layer. So this is why the reverse tweezers are so handy, is because I don't have to apply pressure to this. And all I have to do is hold it and I can add my glue. Yes, we did have someone say that they looked up the price of the ATG gun, and it is a little bit on the pricey side, but if you are a paper crafter, it is worth it.
Yeah, for sure.
Because it really does make things a lot easier when it comes to paper crafting, if you're doing a lot of paper crafting. Okay, so we're just adding our glue. We're gonna come in, add our frame here. Now I do like working with the Aleene's glue because it gives me a little bit of time to move this around and I don't have to work so fast. But we're adding that in. Now we're just going to start placing our letters. So I'm going to be picking them up individually and then adding my glue. It does not take a lot because you don't want it to seep out a lot onto your card. So just a little goes a long way with this.
I mean, honestly, this is the fun part. Kind of like when you're weeding vinyl, like this is very similar in paper crafting, like building it and taking each little layer and like putting it together. That's the fun part, and that's the part that is a little repetitive, but it's totally fun. Totally good.
And I apologize if I get quiet. It's just I get very, I concentrate a lot.
Yeah.
When it comes to this.
For sure.
But what do you do?
Look, the words are all glued down.
Finally.
Yay.
Now we're going to start with our back layers.
So Claudia, I want to give you this thought, and I think this card is a really great one to use. If you were to sell this card, how much would you sell it for? Let me tell you, Claudia, I would not think this card would be good for you to sell, or myself. I don't think this card right here would be one that you would want to make and sell because it's going to take some time, right? Like the things you want to sell are things that can be replicated and, created really quickly. If I tell you a price of, let's say, $10 to $12, right? $10 to $12 probably isn't going to end up compensating you that well when everything's said and done. The thing about a price is you are making a commitment to your customer that no matter what, you're going to figure it out to get that order complete, right? You're going to do whatever it takes to complete that order. So if you have a craft fail, things like that, you're going to eat that time. So you're taking a liability. I think of service providers, which is what we are. we're service providers, and you know, I had a service provider quote me to do this gravel, okay, and do some other things for like a driveway, okay. He gave me the price, and he committed during that time of whatever happens, he's going to still do it and get me a finished project for that price. That's a lot of liability. And I think for people that are creating, they aren't looking at it from that angle of like, oh, this could go poorly and like I need to create and kind of add in some buffers. So with all that to say, I don't think this card would be great to sell.
I know, I don't either.
Love it.
I think this is more so a labor of love for someone you want to create this for.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Love it.
I say that's it. But it took a little while.
Yeah, Lauren, the card did take quite a bit, but I do have to say, it's so adorable.
I know.
I love the poinsettia. Guys, I have to say, I love square cards.
I do too.
That's
why I created this square card, because I feel like most of what we do is a rectangular card.
Yeah.
So I wanted to kind of switch it up and do a square card.
Yeah.
Just because I think they're really fun. And let's be honest, I created the actual like poinsettia as like I created all of that because I think that poinsettia would be beautiful if you were wrapping gifts with the brown craft paper and you cut that poinsettia out of paper to adorn some of your, instead of using a bow.
That would be super fun.
You put that on a present.
Yes, that would be super, super fun. So